Welcome to Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle, where experts in the field inform, educate and inspire the community to be healthier, more balanced and live the lifestyle they love. Our first guest today, Sue Williams, is a doctor of quantum counselling and a clinical hypnotherapist, and the topic we'll be discussing is being stuck in your head and 5 pro tips how to break free. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you, Megan. It's great to be here again.
Sue, can you give us 5 tips on how to build mental resilience?
Certainly. The very first thing is to realise what it is that you need to overcome. So if I'm dealing with sports people, they will come to me and tell me, I have this absolute mental block. For example, a basketballer, I'm there doing the free throws, miss every time. This person has realised they have a problem. They know what it is, but they just don't know how to overcome it. So that's the first thing. You need to realise what that problem is so that you can actually go and change it. And then the second one is setting the goal for what you want to change. So it is a goal. In this example, the basketballer wants to get the correct mindset so that every time he's standing on the line, bounce, bounce, straight through. And just a tip that I give the basketballers, being very specific here, is imagine that hoop is this big. How can you miss? And that's part of the goal setting, because then you can visualise what that huge hoop is. So that's a really good tip, and you can customise that to anything that you want to change. And of course, when we're talking about visualisation, everyone has a different learning style. A lot of people are visual. Also, people are auditory. So that particular basketballer will need to hear what the coach is saying, so that he knows exactly where his hands are placed, where his feet need to be, so he's hearing it. And we call this mental rehearsal because that takes in all aspects of different ways of learning. Okay, and then we move on to the kinesthetic learners. And kinesthetic people feel things. So they do feel emotions. Emotions will control their thoughts, but also they have the feelings in their body. So with our basketball example, that particular player, to overcome these, the missing the hoop continuously, they may need their coach to set them up physically in front of the hoop, standing on that free throw line. So this is the way your body should be to give it that perfect arc. The ball goes straight through the hoop every time. So they get in position, and then they feel it through their body. They keep doing that, so that becomes their go-to position, and they know it's going to work. And then, of course, this is what we call mental rehearsal. And use that mental rehearsal to formulate your goals, and then proceed with your particular learning style to work towards those goals. Moving on from our goal setting, we've got our goal, we've done our mental rehearsal, worked out exactly what we do to achieve that goal based on our learning style. And then we set up this routine and we prepare, we set aside time, and then we use that routine to practice that mental rehearsal over and over again. And that's what will separate the elite athletes from the weekend warriors. So it's the practice, practice, practice. That's what they do. Our goals can just be so airy-fairy if we don't plan and do the practice. They won't be attainable if you don't put in the work. And to help us achieve our goals, what we can do to get into that zone, not necessarily the zone we use for competing, but the zone where our imagination is alive, where we are focused on what we're going to do in our routine that day, is to develop a breathing practice. And breathing is amazing for a number of reasons. we're concentrating on the breathing, but it's also enabling us physically to bring in the oxygen, oxygenate ourselves, so that if we're a sports person, for example, our muscles are going to work. They're going to be well oxygenated. The blood will be flowing because we're breathing the correct way. And we breathe in through our nose. We do that so that the air actually gets warmed before it reaches our lungs. We breathe deep down into our abdomen. And we can tell if we're shallow breathing because we'll begin. If we're breathing deeply, breathe down into the abdomen. That actually gives us room for the lungs to be drawn down so that they can really fill with the air. So breathing in, and as you breathe in through your nose, have your tongue against the roof of your mouth. And that, for whatever reason, makes this breathing so much more effective. I'm not sure of the physical reason, but I know it makes it very effective. Breathing all the way down into your abdomen so that the lungs can fill completely. Hold it and then out through the mouth.
Any advice for our viewers?
Find a professional in whatever area of life your goal is. So if, for example, like the sports people who come to me, if they're looking for help, they seek my help using hypnosis and also other modalities that I'm qualified in to assist them with their mental well-being and their physical well-being. But also, if you're not sure if you're a sports person, find a good coach who'll be able to get your body set up in the perfect way for your particular sport. And mental health professionals, if you've got something that's happening in your life that you need help with, go to the professional. Don't try and work out these tricky things by yourself, because you'll get stuck in that spiral, that vicious cycle where you just don't overcome it, and you're stuck. You've got that mental block. So find the relevant professional, always the first step, and then see what they can do to help you, and you may be able to move on and do something else, set another goal.
Thanks, Sue. That's such valuable information. If you'd like to know more about Sue Williams and how to build mental toughness and get unstuck, please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And after the break, we have another interesting guest with another interesting topic. After the break, breathwork expert and life coach Christine Hart-Savage will be talking about developing emotional intelligence. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and our next guest is breathwork and life coach Christine Hart-Savage, and the topic we'll be discussing today is developing emotional intelligence. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you, Megan. It's great to be back again.
Christine, emotional intelligence is a really hot topic at the moment. Could you describe for us what emotional intelligence is?
Emotional intelligence is huge, absolutely huge. It's one of those things that we think, what is emotional intelligence? We've got academic sort of intelligence, IQ, and this is EQ. And I think we have SQ, which is spiritual intelligence as well. Emotional intelligence, I'll tell you what it isn't first. And I used to have a lot of the isn't, like a lot of us do. So in my earlier life, I was so sensitive to everything, I was reactive. Now, when we have emotional reactions going on inside us, whether we actually act on them or not, we're charged. So there's this constant feeling of being sucked down the rabbit hole. That emotion that takes us away from being present. We can't see anything clearly when we're in an emotional state, a charged emotional state. And most of us are reactive to that. So we go through life, and whatever's happening around us, or maybe a friend makes a comment, or a husband or a wife makes a comment, or a teacher, or whoever it might be, and suddenly we feel this feeling inside, and we are gone. We're actually not there anymore. When we're in that, That is not emotional intelligence. We are lost in an old pattern of behaviour, an old pattern of thinking and feeling. So we want to avoid that sort of thing. So we have to work on healing those deeper layers and bringing our emotional pains and hurts and traumas into balance.
Christine, do you think we have our own ability to choose our own personal path?
I definitely think we do. And this is something that I did not realise when I was younger. I bounced around, just reacting to whatever life brought into my world. I did not know that we could choose our thoughts. I did not know that thoughts created. I did not know that we could choose to work with our emotional state and bring it into harmony and balance. Yes, I do believe we can choose who we want to be in the world. Most definitely.
Do you have any examples you'd like to give us of this?
I'll talk about a realisation I had one day. I studied metaphysical science and I love metaphysical science. And I was reading some of the literature and it suddenly occurred to me, wow, I have made such a mess of my life. So all that emotional attachment I had to things and reactions is a lot of life force being wasted on drama, wasted on chaos. And I thought, if I can really choose who I'm going to be in the world and I can change my thoughts and my reactions, I could use that energy and life force to create something wonderful for myself. What if I had the power to do that? So what I did then was look at values. And I thought, well, what are my values? What do I value? And who are the people that I admire in life? And one of them was my grandmother. She is the most beautiful, beautiful, loving lady, my grandmother. I was very close to her. And I thought, what are the qualities that she shows that I like? And she was warm, she was friendly, she was authentic, she was strong, and she laughed a lot. And she was clever. And I thought, I love all of those qualities. I don't know if I have them, but I'm going to choose those qualities and I'm going to actually start bringing them into my life and embodying them. I'm going to choose the values I like and really whittle those down to a few and start to live those values and bring those qualities of those values into my life, to bring them into my being and to live them and to act them out. And one of the thoughts I had, Megan, was if I am choosing to be a certain way in life, is that a lie? Or is it the truth? And I thought, well, is my past and who I've been a lie or the truth? And then I started to think about, well, I've made a bit of a mess of my earlier life. If I can create a new life, one that I like, that is more peaceful and flowing and interactive with people, surely that's the way to go. So I decided that it was a choice. It's a choice to be who we're choosing to be in life. And then having the ability and the commitment to step into those values and embody the qualities of those values. So I started to do that. And I've worked with my mind so much in my life. So one of the things with emotional intelligence is being able to become non-reactive, non-attached to outcomes of things. So to do that, I use my breath a lot in my life to balance myself.
Christine, what should the viewers and I do to develop our own emotional intelligence?
Really become aware of yourself. Become aware of your thoughts. Become aware of your emotions. Become aware of your actions. And then line those up with the values that you hold dear to you. And try to embody those, the qualities of those values into your life and act those out. So it does take a lot of practice. And one of the things is any time and every time you catch yourself being caught up in some emotion or feeling like, I'm going to get back at that person, that payback sort of energy, catch that. And every time you catch it, don't go crooked yourself. Put your arm up, bend it at the elbow, pat yourself on the back and say, I caught myself. I am moving forward. I am getting it. So we can work in a way that we're kind to ourselves, but we need to be really focused and really committed to making those changes, but it's worth it. Because then we design who we're going to be and we can live a really wonderful life by our own life design, by leading ourselves in our life. We become much more emotionally intelligent.
Thanks, Christine. That's such fantastic information. If you'd like to know more about developing emotional intelligence or Christine Hart-Savage, go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And after the break, we'll have another interesting guest with another interesting topic. Stay tuned. After the break, Naturopath lecturer and author Michèle Wolff will be talking about, are bloating and irritable bowel syndrome curable? Welcome back. Our next guest, Michèle Wolff, is a naturopath, author and lecturer, and the topic we'll be discussing is how food affects our digestive and nervous systems. Welcome, Michèle.
Thank you, Megan.
So how does food affect our digestive system?
Food can have a big impact on our digestion because it's going straight into our digestive system, and you've got several organs of your digestive systems. So when you eat food, it can impact that and put more strain on that, and it can also impact the way that your bowel moves, which is called peristalsis. So for example, if you eat too much sugar, you'll put a lot of pressure on your pancreas with the insulin production. So if that goes on and you have too much sugar, you can be at risk for diabetes, for example. And then also if you have too much sugar, that becomes a breeding ground for pathology. So you can get an overgrowth of abnormal bacteria like fungus and parasites. So eating can really affect your mood. More junk foods, white flours, sugars, unhealthy drinks, so too much alcohol, too much soft drink, too much caffeine, can have a negative effect on your gut and on your brain. And then if you're overloading your digestive system with any food, that can cause a problem as well. So for example, if you overeat meat and you're not having vegetables with the meat and you're eating that late at night, your stomach can't handle it. So it takes a lot to produce enough hydrochloric acid to break down that meat into a soup. And you want to have really good amounts of plant food to create that nice microbe, like having healthy soil, to produce a really healthy intestine. And you want to be having food that has the right amount of nutrients to give you energy and to help your nervous system and to help your mood. So when you've broken that food down in your stomach, your small intestine, which is 22 feet that goes from the stomach, that absorbs all your good nutrients. So you want to have plenty of nutrients for energy and for relaxation and to feed all your other organs, and for your diet to be more anti-inflammatory rather than pro-inflammatory. Having more of a Mediterranean diet with lots of legumes, lots of green leafy vegetables, good oils like olive oils, nuts and seeds, they have a really positive effect. And having a variety. So if you have 40 different plant foods a week, that feeds your whole microbiome. Now that can seem overwhelming, but if you have a curry, say, with 7 spices, those spices count as plant food. So you could have as a base onion, garlic, a turmeric, cumin, and some Italian herbs, and you've got quite a range already. So it's increasing the diversity of plant foods and avoiding unhealthy drinks and unhealthy foods, particularly junk foods, particularly sugars, and keeping carbohydrates quite low as well. So carbohydrates should only be quarter of your diet, not half of your diet.
How does food actually affect our nervous system?
So food affects your nervous system in a couple of ways. Firstly, by the nutrients it contains. So your nervous system needs a lot of magnesium, a lot of calcium, a lot of potassium, a lot of B vitamins in order to operate effectively. And the adrenal glands, which are part of your nervous system that are responsible for the flight and fright, they use up a lot of vitamin C. So you need to feed and nourish them with those good nutrients and good complex carbohydrates, which give you energy without overdoing the carbohydrates. And the things that negatively impact the nervous system are your cakes and your biscuits and your fast foods. And you know, if you're healthy, the 80-20 rule is okay. If 80% of the time your diet is good and you're creating that really healthy microbiome, you're absorbing really good nutrients, then 20% of the time, you know, you can have your treats. It just depends on where you are. If you've got a serious disease, then you have to be stricter for longer. And if you have some sort of pathology, that will have an effect on your nervous system in making you more irritable or more angry. And so starving that out by not having carbohydrates and sugars will help your mood. And then you've got foods that really help to relax you. So a glass of warm milk with a spice, say some warm milk with cardamom, or if you can't tolerate milk, then hot coconut milk or almond milk is very, very soothing, relaxing, and can help you sleep better, which is part of your nervous system as well. And then you've got foods that spice the nervous system up a bit. So a little bit of dark chocolate has something called theothrombin in it, which is a little bit like caffeine, so that will make you very alert. But if you overdo the dark chocolate, you'll get anxiety and you'll be too hyperactive. So that's part of your nervous system as well. So it's just having that balance of not having things that make you too hyperactive and anxious, and not having things that make you depressed and sluggish, and keeping that middle balance with a good Mediterranean diet and anti-inflammatory foods and spices.
Do you have any special tips for our viewers?
So if you're having junk foods, move to a more healthy junk food. So for example, takeaways, sushi takeaway would be much more healthy than a pizza. So just have a look around at what you can do. If you have really busy days, on the days that you're not busy, get some glass containers and freeze lots of meals so that you can pull them out on days that you're busy, and then you'll have less junk food. Avoid having things in the house that are unhealthy. So you know, you don't have to have chocolates and biscuits and cakes in the house unless you're having a particular visitor that day, but it's not healthy for your family either. And instead have an abundance of fruit and vegetables in your pantry and in your fridge and on your kitchen bench, so that they are healthy snacks. Nuts and seeds are healthy snacks as well.
That's such good information, Michèle. Thank you. If you'd like to know more about how food affects our digestive system and our nervous system and Michèle Wolff, please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And we'll say bye-bye for now, and we'll see you next time. If you'd like to know more about our show, please like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.